6 years. That's how long Marcus Whitmore spent believing she had forgotten him. But that morning, when he stepped into a small coffee shop in Charleston, the impossible happened. He saw her, the woman who once shattered his heart, and 3 little smiles that would change his life forever. But before we dive into this emotional story, tell us in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it there right now? Hit that like button and subscribe to Hearts Rewritten, because what's about to unfold will prove that destiny never forgets the way back home. The alarm didn't need to ring. Marcus Whitmore was already awake, lying in the silent dimness of his bedroom. The floor-to-ceiling windows framed the silhouette of Atlanta under the rising sun, a sea of steel buildings and reflected light. The city woke slowly, but Marcus never truly slept. He swept his arm across the white sheets, pushing them aside with calm precision. The room was spacious, minimalist, elegant to the point of revealing nothing about the man who lived there. On the opposite wall, 3 modern black and white paintings hung above a built-in wine cabinet, filled with rare French bottles he almost never touched. He rose, crossing the dark hardwood floor. Tall and athletic, every movement controlled, a body sculpted not out of vanity but discipline. At 37, Marcus embodied a man who commanded respect before speaking. Dark brown hair, brushed back, highlighted the sharp lines of his face. His intense green eyes carried a steady, guarded chill, an armor he never lowered. There was a silent charm about him, the kind that made people look twice, even when he pretended not to notice. In the kitchen, the Italian coffee maker was already at work, filling the air with the rich aroma of Colombian beans. On the marble counter, a simple breakfast waited. Black coffee, scrambled eggs, whole-grain toast, and thin slices of avocado. Marcus ate slowly while scanning business news on his tablet. Economy, stocks, mergers. The world revolved because of him, yet nothing inside him seemed to move. A knock on the door interrupted his routine. Marcus exhaled. "Come in." His assistant, Victoria Lane, entered, immaculate in a beige suit, heels clicking in neat rhythm against the floor. She carried a folder and a controlled smile. "Good morning, Mr. Whitmore. The driver will be here in 20 minutes. Board meeting at 8 and the flight to Charleston at 11. "Have everything ready?" he replied, eyes still on the screen. "I've already organized the reports and the travel itinerary. We'll stay for a week, maybe 15 days. Marcus nodded once. "And the hotel?" "I booked the presidential suite at the Charleston Grand. Ocean view." He finally looked up, giving a brief, approving tilt of his head. "Good." As she left, silence reclaimed the penthouse. The clock on his wrist read 7:05. Marcus finished his coffee, washed his hands, and headed to the bathroom. The mirror greeted him with the honesty no one else dared to show. Hot water cascaded over his broad shoulders, down his strong chest and sun-touched skin. He closed his eyes, letting the steam fill the space. The only moment in the day he allowed himself to truly be alone. Yet even then, the past slipped in through scattered flashes. A woman's laugh, a hint of cinnamon, the distant echo of a goodbye that never got an answer. He inhaled deeply and forced the memory away. The past didn't yield profit. Inside the closet, suits hung in precise alignment, grey, navy, and black. He chose a navy Italian-cut suit, crisp white shirt, and graphite silk tie. A silver watch, a family heirloom, completed the effortless sophistication. By the time he walked out, he looked ready for battle, the kind fought in numbers and negotiations. At 7:50, the limousine awaited him. Black leather seats, a subtle woody scent, perfectly matched to the man who entered without hurry, holding only a leather portfolio and a hardened gaze. During the ride to Whitmore Capital, Victoria reviewed reports in a soft voice. "The New York investors confirmed the video conference for tomorrow." "Reschedule. I'll be in Charleston," Marcus said, staring out the window. The company headquarters rose powerfully among Atlanta's skyscrapers. Inside, everything reflected his taste. Discreet, expensive, efficient. The executive floor radiated silence and power. "Good morning, gentlemen." Marcus's voice sliced through the meeting room like a blade. Charts appeared on the screen. Projections followed. For nearly an hour, he dissected every number with surgical precision. Cold, direct, immune to distraction. When the name Charleston surfaced among the expansion proposals, something inside him twitched, almost invisible. Just another city on a report, yet it echoed strangely. He brushed his fingers over the page and murmured, almost to himself, "I want to see that place in person." At 10:20, he left the building. Atlanta's sun glinted off glass towers, but none of it warmed anything inside him. His private jet awaited on the runway. Victoria sat beside him during the flight, speaking about contracts and land opportunities. He caught half of it. His mind was already elsewhere. When the plane descended toward Charleston, the view surprised him. Colorful historic homes, tree-lined streets, the river shimmering under the golden afternoon. Everything felt too peaceful, too alive. A local driver greeted them at the airport. "Welcome to Charleston, Mr. Whitmore. You're going to like it here." The mild southern drawl was inviting. Marcus simply nodded. The car rolled down narrow streets, past flower-draped balconies and storefronts, steeped in the scent of fresh coffee. And then, turning a charming corner, something caught his eye. A small coffee shop, perfectly modern yet warm. Golden signage, large windows, white curtains swaying with the breeze. Harbor and home. Marcus stared for several seconds. "That's where I want to start," he said confidently. Victoria raised a brow. "That property? It wasn't a priority item. It is now." When the car stopped, he drew in a slow breath. The warm air carried the aroma of pastries and freshly brewed coffee. Something indefinable pulled him toward that place, as if time itself had been waiting there patiently. He stepped out, eyes locked on the cafe's entrance. He didn't know it yet, but this would be the day everything changed. The bell above the door chimed softly, and the warm scent of coffee and fresh bread wrapped around him instantly. Marcus Whitmore stepped into Harbor and Home with the eyes of a man who judged the world in percentages and profit. But for the first time in a long while, he couldn't translate what he saw into numbers. The cafe's interior was welcoming, modern in just the right way. Light walls, wooden shelves, tiny vases of flowers, and well-placed tables. Late morning sunlight streamed through the wide windows, casting golden reflections across the polished concrete floor. The low murmur of conversations and the hum of the espresso machine created a soft, almost hypnotic rhythm. His assistant, Victoria Lane, followed beside him, tablet in hand. "The space is well used," she noted. "It seems to be in good structural condition." Marcus nodded. "We'll see if appearances match profitability." She smiled, accustomed to his cool tone. "Should I order 2 coffees?" "Go ahead." He scanned the space. The dark wooden counter, the gleam of well-kept equipment, the impeccable organization. Everything carried a touch of care and soul. That was when he saw her. Behind the counter, a woman arranged cups and handed out orders with the grace of someone who had learned to do much with little. Her dark hair was tied into a loose bun, a few strands escaping to frame her face. Her warm, luminous brown skin caught the sunlight, as if the sun itself had chosen her. Her deep brown eyes held something serene but profound, stories no one else knew. She wore the shop's uniform, a simple white shirt with a navy apron, yet somehow, on her, it looked intentional. There was a natural elegance in her movements, a quiet femininity that drew attention without requiring effort. Marcus didn't know why he kept staring. Maybe it was the contrast. He, flawless in his Italian suit. She, simple and genuine, from a world far from his. For a moment he felt something curious. Not immediate attraction, but recognition, as if he had seen that look in some forgotten dream. Victoria called the waiter and ordered the coffees. While they waited, Marcus tried to focus on her notes, but his attention drifted back toward the counter every few seconds. The woman smiled at an elderly customer, served a cappuccino, wiped the surface with care. Nothing about her felt rehearsed. She was real. When she approached with a tray, he lifted his gaze, only out of politeness. 2 coffees, right? Her voice was soft, steady. "Yes," Marcus replied, "and a slice of apple pie." The request slipped out before he realized it. For some reason, the sentence struck him like the echo of something old, shapeless. She smiled kindly. "We have a great one. I'll be right back." As she walked away, Victoria commented, eyeing him sideways. "It's rare for you to order dessert." "Just professional curiosity," he answered, though his voice betrayed an unusual hesitation. The woman returned with their order, then disappeared behind the espresso machine. Marcus watched the steam rise, sunlight catching the porcelain, the distant clink of silverware. Everything seemed ordinary, and yet it wasn't. "Mr. Whitmore?" Victoria called. "Should I schedule a meeting with the owners?" "Later." He stirred his coffee, gaze drifting. "I want to stay here for a few minutes." She knew him well enough not to press further. Marcus leaned his elbows on the table, eyes wandering around the cafe. Then something new caught his attention. At a table near the side wall, 3 little boys played with colored pencils and toy cars. They looked comfortable, laughing together, trading secrets in soft, excited voices. All 3 shared the same bright spark in their eyes, light brown irises glistening in the midday light. Their hair, soft and curly, bounced with every laugh. Their skin, a warm, sun-kissed caramel, glowed gently. One bit his lip while concentrating on his drawing. Another laughed too loudly. The third observed everything with a calm that felt almost grown. Marcus stared, not understanding the fascination. The children were with the woman behind the counter. She glanced their way between orders. They weren't disturbing anyone. If anything, they filled the place with a tender kind of joy. Victoria noticed his gaze. Probably someone who works here, she guessed. Maybe the babysitter is running late. And in fact, Elena, though Marcus didn't yet know her name, was thinking exactly that. The boy's sitter had gone to an appointment and promised to return within a few hours. Until then, the little ones would stay with her, drawing and playing. Marcus watched them longer than he meant to. Something in that scene disarmed him. Maybe it was the way the boys laughed so freely, or how one leaned his head affectionately on the other's shoulder. There was something pure and familiar about it, something he couldn't name. And because he couldn't name it, he couldn't ignore it. Suddenly, one of them dropped his pencil and ran to the counter, calling his mother in a sweet voice. "Mom, look what I drew." Elena bent down to see the colorful paper, a warm smile spreading across her face. Her laugh floated through the air, soft, bright, cutting across the space like a ribbon of light. And that was when Marcus felt it. The sound hit him like a distant echo, something he could swear he had heard before, somewhere in another life. The sensation was so sudden, he had to look away, masking the discomfort. Victoria, confused, asked, "Is everything all right, sir?" He answered without thinking. Yes, it just sounded familiar. But inside he knew the truth. Nothing about this cafe was coincidence. Not that hint of cinnamon in the air. Not that smile. Not those 3 little boys who somehow made him forget time existed. Marcus drew a slow breath, trying to regain control. But it was too late. Fate had already opened the door, and without realizing it, he had just walked through. Steam from the coffee rose in thin wisps, drawing faint lines in the air. Marcus held the porcelain cup between his fingers, but he didn't seem truly present. Across the table, Victoria talked about investment projections, costs, contracts. Sounds blending into the soft hum of the cafe, drifting to him from somewhere far away. The scent of cinnamon kept returning, persistent. He tried to focus, but his gaze betrayed him. Every so often it drifted toward the counter, toward her, the woman making the coffees, the woman who, without knowing, disarmed him with the simplest gestures. She moved calmly, arranging cups, wiping the counter, smiling at customers. Morning light fell over her, warming the soft contours of her shoulders beneath the navy dress. There was a curious balance to her, strength and sweetness intertwined, and that balance felt dangerous. Victoria noticed. She noticed every wandering glance, every longer pause. Her fingers tightened around the pen as she tucked her straight hair behind her ear, masking irritation behind a professional smile. "Mr. Whitmore, as I was saying, the location is excellent." She flipped a page. "Harbour and Home has strategic positioning, steady traffic, and emotional appeal." "Emotional?" Marcus repeated, not looking up. "Yes," she said carefully. "It's the kind of place that makes people feel at home, and you know how well that concept sells." He gave a small nod, but said nothing. He was too busy watching how the barista collected empty cups. One of the boys laughed loudly, and she turned with a smile, that simple, genuine smile that seemed to brighten everything around her. Marcus quickly looked away, pretending to simply be a businessman evaluating the flow of the place. But Victoria caught the tightening of his jaw, the tell of someone trying to restrain what he didn't understand. With a controlled breath, she leaned a little closer. "May I be honest?" "Always." "I don't think this type of investment fits Whitmore Capital's profile." Her gaze was sharp yet layered with something unsaid. "Small businesses demand emotional involvement, and you don't usually get involved." Marcus finally met her eyes. "Are you saying I don't have a heart?" Victoria smiled, though the smile was cold. "I'm saying you're objective, and that's what makes you who you are." He set his cup on the saucer. "Or maybe that's what makes me predictable." The words were more honest than he intended. Victoria didn't respond. She simply pretended to review the reports again, hiding discomfort behind spreadsheets and numbers. As she spoke on, Marcus's attention slipped once more. Elena, though he still didn't know her name, was talking to the three little boys. One had climbed onto his chair, and she bent down laughing, guiding him back into place. They all giggled, round cheeks, light brown eyes shimmering in the sunlight. Marcus looked at that scene the way someone watches something impossible to buy. He didn't understand why, but their laughter hit him strangely, a mix of warmth and unease, the kind of sound that fills a void you didn't know existed. "Mr. Whitmore," Victoria tried again, "did you hear me?" He blinked, returning to the moment. "Of course." She studied him. "You seem distracted today." "Just tired," he replied. "It's the air here. Charleston has a different pace." "Different how?" "More human." His voice carried a trace of bitterness he didn't notice. "I can handle the preliminary negotiation," Victoria offered. "If you need to rest." "No." Marcus's refusal was immediate. "I'll handle it." She forced a smile. Naturally, as always. Silence followed, broken only by the clink of spoons and the soft laughter of children. Marcus looked again. This time, Eleanor was alone behind the counter, sorting bills and plates. The boys still sat at their table, distracted with crayons and cookies. The woman looked tired, yet even her breathing carried tenderness. Sunlight crossed the window and touched her face, making her warm brown skin glow. Marcus felt his stomach tighten, an involuntary, primal reaction. Something about her stirred memories he didn't know he had, and while he tried to make sense of the feeling, Victoria was watching. Her gaze hardened, discreet but unmistakable. She was the type of woman who knew how to store emotions and weaponize them later. A detail Marcus would only understand when it was too late. He cleared his throat, breaking the silence. "Ask for the check." Victoria signaled the barista, and Eleanor approached the table with the same polite smile. "Was everything all right with your order?" "Perfect," he said, his voice lower than he meant it to be. She nodded, setting the receipt down. When she stepped away, the scent of cinnamon and her soft perfume lingered in the air. And suddenly the boys laughed again, the sound following her like sunlight. Marcus stood. Before leaving, he looked once more at the three boys, their curly brown hair, bright brown eyes, smiling as if they belonged entirely to that place. As if they were part of the air he breathed, something inside him stirred, quiet and deep. A premonition, a question without shape. He took a slow breath and stepped outside. Warm wind brushed his face. Victoria walked a few steps behind, silence heavy with something he didn't notice. As the car pulled away, Marcus glanced in the rearview mirror and saw the cafe growing smaller behind him, golden and alive. He didn't yet know, but he was leaving behind far more than a potential investment. He was leaving behind the beginning of everything fate still had to reveal. Marcus spent the entire morning pretending to be completely focused on work. Reports about Charleston were spread across the hotel desk, and the hum of the air conditioner filled the silence like an excuse not to think. But he was thinking about the cafe, about the scent of cinnamon, about the woman in the navy apron who smiled with gentleness and firmness at the same time, and above all about the unsettling and strangely familiar feeling that place had left inside him. He turned another page of the report without really reading it. The letters blurred together, and his gaze inevitably drifted back to the window. Outside, Charleston breathed slowly. Narrow streets, flowered balconies, carriages passing by, the distant cries of seagulls. Everything in that city seemed determined to remind him of something he had forgotten. Mr. Whitmore. Victoria's voice pulled him back. She stood in the doorway, elegant in a beige dress, holding a tablet. The meeting with the local broker is at 2. Would you like me to move the lunch reservation earlier? No, he answered shortly. I'm not hungry. Victoria hesitated. Did you sleep well? I slept enough. She studied him for a moment. If I may, you seem distracted. Marcus leaned back in the armchair. Just tired. Tired? Her tone held a slight tease. That's rare to hear from you. He raised an eyebrow. Even machines need maintenance. She laughed, but the sound was restrained. She knew when not to push, but she couldn't hide her uneasiness. Ever since they'd left the cafe, something in Marcus had shifted. A new distraction, a different lightness, and underneath it all, a spark in his eyes that wasn't professional. She drew a steady breath and adjusted her tone. We should review the schedule for the property visits. There are 2 on the list that deserve priority before you decide anything about that cafe. Leave the cafe for last, he said, looking out the window. I want to go back there. Victoria blinked, thrown off. Go back? Yes. His voice was firm but calm. I want to see the place at different times of day. She nodded slowly, though the tightness in her jaw betrayed her. Of course. Marcus stood, straightening his jacket. Don't wait for me for lunch. Victoria remained frozen for a few seconds after he left, the tablet still in her hands. Her stomach twisted, not from hunger, but from something far more bitter. She knew how to recognize when she was losing ground, and for the first time in years, it felt like Marcus had found something she couldn't control. The bell over the door rang for the second time that week. Marcus walked into harbor and home again, hiding his true reason for being there behind the cool, analytical expression the world knew so well. But deep down, he knew it wasn't the business that had brought him back. It was what he couldn't explain. The atmosphere was calmer than the day before. Light poured through the windows in amber tones, and the smell of fresh coffee was even stronger. Elena was behind the counter, arranging flowers in small glass vases. She didn't see him come in. Marcus approached the counter and set one hand on it, watching her reflection in the metal surface of the espresso machine. Her dark brown hair was loose today, falling in natural waves over her shoulders. The light highlighted the glow of her warm skin and the delicate lines of her face. There was something calm in her, and at the same time, profoundly alive. When she finally turned, she recognized him as the customer from the day before and gave him a polite smile. Good morning again. You came back? The coffee was good, Marcus replied, his dry tone covering the real reason. And I never make decisions based on a single visit. She laughed softly, almost shyly. So you're studying the place? Exactly. He watched her hands as she adjusted the machine. I'm an investor. I usually buy properties and transform them. I see. Eleanor glanced around, her smile fading slightly. I hope you see more than walls here. Marcus lifted a brow. What do you mean? It's a place full of stories, some of them too old to be rewritten. Her answer caught him off guard. There was wisdom in her voice, a quiet calm that disarmed him. He simply nodded, unsure what to say. As she made the coffee, Marcus noticed the small details, the way the navy apron fit around her waist, the faint sweetness that seemed to come from her skin, the care in the way she held the cups. Every movement was simple, yet charged with something he couldn't name. Elena set the cup in front of him. Black coffee, right? Yes. He met her gaze. How did you know? You have the look of someone who doesn't like distractions. For a moment, the air felt heavier. Marcus wrapped his fingers around the cup, but didn't drink. She stepped away to help another customer, and he stayed where he was, watching her move between the tables. He tried to find logic in what he was feeling, but there was none. Across the street, Victoria watched from the car window. She'd expected him to walk out in 10 minutes. 30 had already passed. When she saw him smile, a smile barely there, almost invisible, something inside her broke in silence. Back in the cafe, Marcus finished his coffee. Eleanor passed by his table again and he said without looking at her, "The apple pie yesterday was good." She stopped, surprised. "I'm glad you liked it. It's the former owner's recipe. It tastes like a memory." His voice was low, the words slipping out before he could hold them back. She frowned slightly, puzzled, and he turned his gaze away. The silence between them was broken by the sound of children laughing in the corner. The triplets were drawing again, distracted, while the babysitter talked on the phone. Their light, carefree giggles filled the air. Marcus didn't know it yet, but every echo of that laughter was leading him, step by step, back to something he never imagined he would find again. The clock read nearly 5 in the afternoon when Marcus Whitmore closed his laptop and rested his elbows on the hotel desk. The room was spacious, modern, and quiet, as organized as the life he had built, and yet the air felt heavy, carrying a restlessness he couldn't name. Outside, the sky stretched in a deep shade of blue, tree branches swaying lazily in the wind. Charleston breathed slowly, almost sluggishly, as if time followed a different rhythm there. Marcus hated slow places, and yet somehow this silence held him captive. He poured himself a glass of red wine. The dark liquid reflected the golden glow of sunlight coming through the window. He sank into the leather armchair, jacket draped over the back, shirt sleeves rolled up to his elbows. His watch gleamed under the sun, but he didn't check the time. For the first time in a long while, he didn't feel rushed. On the laptop screen, the Charleston property report remained open and entirely ignored. His mind was elsewhere, on the soft ring of the cafe bell, on the scent of cinnamon, on the woman who had served him, with that calm smile and a gaze that seemed to see through him without asking permission. A knock at the door broke through his thoughts. Marcus inhaled. "Come in." Victoria Lane appeared, heels striking rhythmically against the hardwood floor. The redhead carried a leather folder tucked under her arm, her intense floral perfume reaching the space before her voice did. Sleek hair framed her shoulders, blue eyes assessing every detail of the room, as if it too belonged to her. "I thought you might want to review the reports before tomorrow's meeting," she said, setting the folder on the table. The local team sent updates. Marcus turned the wine glass slowly between his fingers. "Leave them there, Victoria, I'll look later." "Of course." She watched him, raising a brow. "You look tired." He glanced toward the window glass. "It's the heat. Charleston is more humid than I expected. Or maybe it's boredom." She smiled, beautiful but rehearsed. "The city is lovely, but predictable." Marcus let out a short scoff. "Predictable? That's a word I hear often about myself. I'd say efficient." She stepped closer, heels clicking with confidence. But something changed. A pause, studying him. "You're different, Marcus." He turned, setting his glass on the table. "Trying to analyze your boss?" "Just observing." She stood less than a meter away. Her perfume thickened the air. "You don't usually visit the same place twice without a reason, and yet you went back to that cafe today." Marcus's eyes sharpened. "Yes, and what's wrong with that?" "Nothing," she replied plainly. "I just found it interesting." "Did you find something interesting?" "The coffee is good." His tone was neutral. "Ah, yes." Her smile chilled. "The coffee." A tense silence settled. He held her gaze for a long moment, choosing not to respond. Victoria moved closer to the table, hands pressing lightly against the glass surface. "I've known you for years, Mr. Whitmore. I know when something intrigues you. That's called commercial interest." "And what if it isn't?" she whispered. "You're crossing a line, Victoria," Marcus replied, eyes on the papers. She bit her lip, regretful only in appearance. "Sorry. I just don't want to see you distracted by something that won't be worth it." "That's not your concern," he said, closing the folder. She inhaled and hid the flush in her cheeks behind a controlled smile. "Of course. just trying to protect the company's interests. She watched him in silence for a few long seconds. She did know him well, and something in him had undeniably changed. She recognized the danger immediately, but not in the deal he was considering. It was another kind of danger, one she couldn't control. She left the room with a polite smile and a stomach twisted tight. Outside, the corridor felt colder. The next morning he returned to Harbour and home, this time alone. The bell above the door announced his arrival. Marcus stepped inside wearing a charcoal grey suit, his tie loosened and a slightly less impenetrable air than usual. The scent of fresh bread and coffee welcomed him like an old friend. Elena was there, hair tied up, navy apron over a white shirt, moving with effortless grace. Her calm voice and attentive gaze touched every detail around her. Sunlight filtered in, glowing against her warm brown skin and the delicate shape of her face. There was a quiet elegance in everything she did, and Marcus watched her with the same attention he gave a business opportunity. But this time, there was a difference. He didn't want to own her. He wanted to understand why he couldn't stop looking. She noticed him and offered a soft smile. "Good morning, Mr. Whitmore. Back for another cup?" "Maybe two," he replied calmly, though he didn't feel calm. "And perhaps a conversation." Elena smiled. "Business? Let's call it that." She poured the coffee, and the sound of liquid filling the cup seemed louder than it should have been. Marcus watched her hands, the gentle motion of her wrist, the careful way she did everything. "Working here must be exhausting," he said, trying to sound casual. "Sometimes it is," she said, "but I like seeing the results. People walk in tense and leave lighter. That's worth something." "I can imagine." "And you?" she asked, folding her arms briefly. "Do you like what you do?" He hesitated. "It's what I know how to do." "That didn't answer my question," she said, eyebrows raised. Marcus gave in with a small smile. "Then no. Maybe I don't enjoy it as much as I used to." Eleanor held his gaze a moment before looking away. Life is like that. Sometimes what once made sense just doesn't anymore. Silence stretched between them. The conversations around them faded. For a moment, it felt like just the two of them existed. "By the way," Marcus said, breaking the moment awkwardly, "I saw 3 kids here yesterday. Are they yours?" Her smile bloomed gently, full of pride. "They are. 3 boys." "3?" Marcus chuckled in disbelief. "That must be intense." "It is," Elena said with a lopsided grin, "but it's the best kind of chaos." "And they're 4 years old?" Pride warmed her voice. "The babysitter takes care of them when I'm here. Sometimes she brings them by for a bit, just to keep them busy." She laughed softly. "You know how kids are, especially 3 brothers together." Marcus smiled, charmed by her natural warmth. "I can only imagine the chaos." "A chaos full of love," she said softly. Then her expression shifted. "But they're wonderful. I couldn't imagine my world without them." There it was again, that balance of strength and sweetness he couldn't stop noticing. "So, apple pie again?" she asked. "Yes," he answered quietly. "It tastes like a memory." Elena paused, eyes locked on his. Then, with a shy smile, she turned back to the counter. Marcus watched her walk away. His heartbeat felt off, unsteady. Something was happening, and part of him knew that if he understood it, everything would change. Outside, Victoria Lane watched through the car window, phone in hand, lips painted a flawless red. She saw Marcus leaning forward slightly, saw the way he looked at that woman, as if the entire world had stopped around them. And she knew, without hearing a single word, that something was slipping out of control. She shut off her phone and inhaled sharply. If that woman was a threat, she would be removed. Not with scandal, but with strategy. Victoria Lane had never lost a battle. And she would not start now. The clock read 6:10 a.m. when Marcus opened his eyes. The hotel room was quiet, washed in a soft light seeping through the sheer curtains. He stayed in bed for a few seconds, staring at the ceiling, listening to the faint patter of light rain against the glass. He got up and walked to the window. Charleston was waking up slowly. The wet streets mirrored the grey sky, trees rustling outside. Marcus drew in a deep breath, his body still light from a full night's sleep, and decided to run. He pulled on a dark t-shirt, workout pants, and headed out into the damp streets of the historic district. The cool morning air revived him. Old houses, brick walls, iron gates, the steady rhythm of his footsteps over wet pavement. Everything carried a kind of peace he wasn't used to feeling. And yet, something inside him remained restless. By the time he returned to the hotel, it was already 7:20. His body was sweaty, heart pounding, but his face calm, as if nothing touched him. He took a long shower, let the hot water run over his broad shoulders, and tried, unsuccessfully, to wash away the image of the woman he couldn't seem to forget. Then he got dressed, charcoal grey suit, crisp white shirt, navy tie. In the mirror, he adjusted the cuff of his watch. The reflection staring back was that of a 37-year-old man, tall, refined, with a firm presence and calculated gaze. A man who inspired respect before he uttered a word. The phone rang. "Mr. Whitmore," came Victoria Lane's polished, efficient voice. "Breakfast is being served in the executive dining area. Would you like me to bring the agenda?" "I'll be there in 10 minutes," he replied, steady. The hotel restaurant carried an understated sophistication. Marble tables, gleaming glassware, wide windows with a distant view of the ocean. Victoria was already waiting. Perfect posture, sleek red hair, tablet open in front of her. "Good morning, Mr. Whitmore." Her voice was professional but a touch too sweet to be neutral. "I ordered black coffee, fruit, toast and croissants, just the way you like." "Thank you." Marcus sat, keeping his expression neutral. "Let's go over the schedule." She slid a finger across the screen. "We have a meeting with the local committee at 9, lunch with the real estate broker at noon, and a visit to the financial district at 3. She paused. "I removed the visit to Harbour and Home to optimize your time." Marcus lifted his gaze, cold. "You removed it?" "I thought it unnecessary," Victoria said smoothly. "It's a small business with no clear expansion potential." "No expansion potential, but steady traffic." He leaned back in his chair, fingers interlaced. "I don't recall authorizing any change in the plan." She hesitated for a moment. "I assumed you'd rather prioritize deals with greater returns," she said, a hint of challenge in her blue eyes. "Assumed wrong." His voice came out cold, contained but firm. "Not everything that has value has to show profit. And don't measure my interest in numbers, Victoria." She held her smile, but her face hardened. "Of course. I was only trying to save you from distractions." "Distractions?" Marcus leaned forward slightly. "You know me well, Victoria. You know I never get distracted." She gave a humorless smile. "Not until now." The waiter broke the tension when he arrived with the coffee. Marcus thanked him with a brief nod and returned to business. "Reschedule the visit, today for 5 p.m. "Understood," she typed quickly. "But I should mention we moved the dinner with the Atlanta investors to tomorrow night." "Tomorrow," he confirmed. "Not today, you can go now." Victoria pressed her lips together, forcing composure. "As you wish." She walked away, holding her posture, but her eyes said everything. Inside, she seethed with jealousy and wounded pride. The following hours crawled by in a blur of meetings, contracts, and numbers. Marcus discussed strategies, listened to proposals, and maintained the precise tone of a man who commanded empires. But in every pause, his mind slipped somewhere else. To the sound of a voice, to a quiet smile, to the smell of coffee mingled with rain. When the clock hit 4:55, he ended his last call and stood up. Victoria tried to stop him. "Mr. Whitmore, perhaps we should review the report before tomorrow's meeting." "No, not today, Victoria." He grabbed his jacket. "I have an appointment." She followed him with her eyes, jaw clenched. She knew exactly where he was going. Harbour and Home was nearly empty. The bell chimed when Marcus pushed the door open, the sound echoing through the tranquil space. The setting sun painted the walls in shades of gold. The air held a light blend of coffee and fresh flowers. It was a simple place, yet there was something inexplicably welcoming about it, something that made him feel at home. Elena Brooks stood behind the counter, arranging cups with delicate care. The navy uniform highlighted her dark skin and the subtle glow in her deep brown eyes. She turned when she saw him and smiled, pleasantly surprised. "Hi, good afternoon. I thought you weren't coming today." "Neither did I," he said, stepping closer to the counter. "But it seems destiny decided for me." She let out a soft laugh, the sound filling the space. Marcus took a seat. "It's quieter today." "Yes, the rain scared off most customers," she replied. "But I like it this way. Silence has its own charm." He nodded, watching her. "Can I order the usual?" "Black coffee," she said, already turning to prepare it. "Am I right?" "As always." For a few moments, the only sound was the gentle hiss of the espresso machine. Then Marcus spoke, voice lower. "I should apologize for not introducing myself earlier. I'm usually better with formalities." Eleanor turned, a slight smile on her lips. "I'm Marcus Whitmore, an investor." He extended his hand, the gesture polite, firm, effortless. "I believe I've been coming here quite often." She wiped her hands on her apron before taking his hand. "Eleanor Brooks, I've worked here for 3 years," she said, a quiet sparkle in her eyes. "It's a pleasure to officially meet you, Mr. Whitmore." The touch of their hands was brief, but something inside both of them seemed to stop. A second, maybe 2, but just long enough for time, somehow, to bend around them. When they let go, Marcus blinked, trying to process the strange sensation. That name, that face, the sound of her voice. Everything felt like a memory from long ago. "Brooks," he repeated under his breath, more to himself than to her. Eleanor looked away, fussing with the cups. "That's right. It's a beautiful name," he said honestly. "So is yours," she replied with a small smile. "It sounds important." He gave a restrained laugh. Some people would say that. The coffee was ready. Elena set the cup in front of him. Steam rose, and Marcus breathed in slowly, the aroma triggering a memory he still couldn't reach. "So," she began, shifting the subject, "are you still thinking about investing in this place?" "I haven't decided yet," he said, eyes fixed on her. "But something tells me it's worth a closer look." She laughed softly, but there was a hint of nerves in her smile. "Careful, Mr. Whitmore. Sometimes what looks too simple can complicate our lives." Marcus smiled faintly. "And what would life be without a little complication?" Eleanor looked away, her heart beating faster. Outside, inside a black car, Victoria Lane watched through the window. The glow of sunset brushed her face with gold, but her eyes were icy. She watched the way Marcus looked at that woman, and understood, without a doubt, that something in him had already changed. She picked up her phone. "Mr. Daniels," she said, voice firm, "move the dinner with the investors to tonight. Tell Mr. Whitmore it's urgent." She hung up, unhurried. A small, calculated smile formed on her red lips. She would not lose. Never. Inside the cafe, Marcus finished his coffee and stood. "It was a pleasure meeting you, Miss Brooks." Eleanor walked him to the door. "The pleasure was mine, Mr. Whitmore." The bell rang as he stepped out, the soft chime echoing like a promise fate intended to keep for later. Outside, Marcus took a deep breath. Charleston smelled of the sea and old memories, and for the first time in many years, he felt no urge to leave. The night had been restless for Marcus. Before dawn, he was already awake, disturbed by a dream of a woman in a green dress by the ocean. Someone his soul seemed to recognize. He tried to chase away the feeling with a run along the waterfront, but the salty air only brought back more memories he couldn't name. After showering, he faced his own reflection, a man who could command empires, but not his own thoughts. When Victoria called, impeccable as always, he forced himself back into routine. At breakfast, she reviewed the schedule, irritating him when she once again removed the harbour and home project. "Sometimes a simple place changes people," he said, firm. Victoria realized she was losing ground, and she'd never truly held it. Across town, Elena Brooks opened the windows while the triplets competed for attention in the kitchen. Asher complained. Micah defended himself. Caleb tried to make them laugh. Elena watched them with equal parts tenderness and exhaustion. Each one reflected a piece of the love she had once lived. Then Asher said, "Mom, you seem different." "Maybe I remembered something good," she murmured, shaken by memories she had tried to bury. By the afternoon, Marcus left his meetings without retaining a single detail. Everything sounded like noise compared to the one question pounding in his mind: why had she returned now? Ignoring Victoria, he headed straight for harbor and home. The bell chimed when he walked in. Eleanor was behind the counter, golden light falling over her loose hair. Her smile appeared, small but real. Their conversation was light, yet charged with something neither of them could define. "Sometimes memory decides to come back," he said. Her heart skipped. "Unlikely. I would remember." "So would I," he replied, though his eyes told a different story. When Elena left work, she met up with the boys. Quiet Micah locked eyes with Marcus from afar, the same intense green. But fate wasn't ready to reveal that truth yet. And on the corner, inside a parked car, Victoria Lane watched. "The woman from the cafe," she whispered, cold. She picked up her phone. "I want a full report on Elena Brooks." War had begun, and the first cracks of destiny were only just opening. Marcus woke at 4:30 a.m., body damp with sweat, heart racing. The same dream persisted. The ocean, a mint green dress, the laughter of a woman he almost recognized. He always reached out a hand, and always woke up before touching her. At the window, he stared at Charleston wrapped in fog and felt deep down that it wasn't just a dream. It was a memory. Hours later, he crossed the hotel lobby impeccably dressed, though his mind was miles away. Victoria waited for him, sharp as ever. When she mentioned she had rescheduled a meeting without asking him, he cut her off. "Make things easier by not deciding for me." Her smile vanished instantly. Cold anger swelled, along with a twisted love turning into poison. Meanwhile, Eleanor helped the triplets get ready for the day. The house smelled of fresh bread, and the boys' gentle chaos filled the kitchen. "Mom, your smile is shining," Asher said. Eleanor looked away. Since seeing Marcus again, nothing inside her had stayed still. 6 years hadn't erased anything. Back at the hotel, Marcus tried to work, but the dream kept returning in flashes until a real memory pierced through. A summer, an event, garden lights, and her, Elena. The name struck him like a blow. This can't be a coincidence. By sunset, he returned to harbor and home. She was there, navy uniform, soft expression lit by golden light. "I thought you wouldn't show up today," she said. "I tried," he answered, "but this place calls me." Their conversation was light, yet heavy with something old. "Sometimes the heart tries to remember what the mind forgot," she said, "and when it finally does..." She hesitated. "Sometimes it's too late." When he thanked her using her name, Elena, a quiet tremor ran through them both. Something was rising to the surface, and neither of them could stop it. At the Charleston Grand Hotel, Victoria studied a report. Elena Brooks, 34 years old, single, 3 children. She turned a wine glass slowly between her fingers and murmured, "3 kids, more interesting." She called a contact. "I want to know who the father is. Be discreet." If the past threatened her plans, she would destroy it. And as the city settled into sleep, 3 little boys dreamed, unaware that destiny was beginning to move, bringing back the father they had never met, and the love that had never died. The ocean whispered around the Charleston Hall that warm night, where golden lights reflected off crystal glasses and practiced smiles. Marcus Whitmore, then 31, watched it all with his usual elegant boredom. Nothing surprised him, until he saw her. Among trays and distinguished guests, a young woman crossed the ballroom in a simple mint green dress. The light fabric, her hair casually pinned up, and the serene presence she carried made her impossible to ignore. Marcus felt something rare, genuine interest. Elena Brooks tried to stay focused on her job. The cafe she worked for had provided staff for the event, and the extra shift helped with late bills. The environment was dazzling and unreachable, but she moved with natural grace until she felt a gaze lingering. When she looked up, her eyes met his. She immediately looked away, cheeks warm. Later, during a short break, Elena stepped out into the garden lit by lanterns. The ocean breeze made the air lighter. Leaning against the balustrade, she took a steadying breath when she heard, "Beautiful night." She turned, It was the man from the ballroom, even more striking up close. "Are you one of the organizers?" she asked. "Something like that. Marcus Whitmore." Her eyes widened. "The billionaire from Atlanta. I prefer Marcus." Their conversation flowed as if they already knew each other. He admitted he was bored by the event. She laughed softly, confessing she was only there to work. Yet Marcus saw something in her that none of the others had: authenticity. They walked together through the garden, talking about travels, routines, silent exhaustion, and expectations. Elena mentioned the cafe. He spoke of the invisible prison that sometimes came with wealth. A gentle breeze brushed past, and he draped his jacket over her shoulders. "You don't have to. Just precaution. And it suits you." The lanterns flickered as they talked about everything and nothing. There was no kiss, no promise, just a moment that arrived whole, deep, unforgettable. In the present, Marcus woke, still seeing the mint-green dress glowing under lantern light. A memory that had once been hazy was now returning sharp and clear. Eleanor, her soft laugh, the way she made him feel alive again. A summer night, an unlikely meeting, and an echo that had never left him. Dawn came softly over Charleston, but Eleanor still carried the previous night on her skin. Flickering lanterns, the touch of his hands, the silence that seemed to suspend the world. Marcus woke different too, driven by a simple, urgent desire to see her again. At the cafe, he leaned against the counter. "I came to hear whatever the ocean wants to tell me," he said. Her smile gave away that she had missed him too. By late afternoon, they walked to the pier bathed in orange and violet. They talked about small things, as if love were being built slowly without any rush. "You belong to another world," she murmured. "And what I feel for you, where does that belong?" Marcus replied. That night, they returned to the lantern-lit garden. He approached gently as if afraid to break a dream. The first touch of their hands shifted the air around them. The kiss came soft, then deep, like a confession. It was the night they loved each other, intensely and quietly, never imagining it would be the last. The following days were filled with lightness. Marcus cancelled meetings, stayed longer in Charleston, allowed himself to laugh and simply exist beside her. On the sand, she asked, "When will you go back to Atlanta?" Going back doesn't mean leaving. Promise? I promise. But fate knocked early at the door. Victoria called, "Your father is in the hospital. They need you." Marcus left in a rush. Elena waited for him at the pier until night fell, then for days, without a message, without a sign. At the hotel, they told her he had flown out with no expected return. Silence turned into certainty. In Atlanta, Marcus drowned in hospitals and obligations. He tried to reach her, but found only obstacles, altered schedules, distorted information, and Victoria's soft voice suggesting Elena had moved on. Exhausted, he believed it. Months later, Elena noticed the changes in her body. At the doctor's office, she heard 3 heartbeats. Triplets, the doctor said. She cried with shock, fear, and love. Touching the mint-green dress, she promised, "You will never feel alone." Caleb, Asher, and Micah were born bringing light into a modest room, each one bearing a piece of the love lived in that summer. Years passed, and Elena raised her boys with courage. Sometimes she told them the story of a love that lasted a single season, but never stopped existing. And somewhere else in the city, Marcus still woke to the scent of the sea, as if the promise he made had never left. A light rain fell over Charleston as Marcus pulled open the hotel curtains. The grey sky matched everything he felt: urgency, nostalgia, and the weight of 6 years of silence. No report mattered anymore. "No more running," he murmured. In the lobby, Victoria waited for him. "We have a meeting at 10. Cancel it." Her shock was immediate, but he didn't stay to explain. Something far more important than business demanded his time. Outside, Marcus drove through the wet streets toward harbor and home. He stood on the sidewalk for a moment, trying to imagine the right words. "Sorry, I came back." None of it felt worthy of the truth. Then something small caught his attention. A little boy struggled to hold a cup of hot chocolate, curly brown hair, green eyes. His green eyes. Marcus crouched down. "You're gonna burn yourself, champ." The boy looked up at him, shy. "My mommy says to hold it with both hands." "She's right. What's your name?" "Micah, what's yours?" "Marcus." The world held its breath. There was something too familiar in that gaze. "I think I know you," Micah said. "Mommy has a book with your name on it." Before Marcus could respond, a voice called out, "Micah!" Eleanor appeared at the door with an umbrella. Time snapped back 6 years. She looked different, beige coat, hair in a simple bun. But it was her. Micah pointed. "He helped me, Mommy." Eleanor's eyes met Marcus's. The umbrella slipped from her hand. "Marcus," she whispered. "Elena." The rain grew heavier. Micah looked between them, confused. "You know each other." No one answered. His eyes said, "I came back." Hers asked, "Why now?" Across the street, inside a dark car, Victoria watched. She saw Micah, she saw Elena, she saw Marcus, and the pieces fell together. "So it's true. 3 children," she murmured, voice like ice. "Let's see who wins this story." On the sidewalk, Marcus picked up the umbrella. "You'll get soaked." Elena's stare cut deeper than any storm. "I've been soaked for a long time, Marcus." She pulled Micah gently into the cafe. The bell above the door chimed, a ghost from the past. Marcus stood alone in the rain, finally understanding. The past had a name, a face, and eyes exactly like his. The bell above Harbor and Home Cafe rang as Eleanor stepped in with Micah. The scent of coffee and the sound of rain filled the air, but none of it calmed her racing heart. Outside, Marcus watched, and finally decided to enter. The bell chimed again, pulling 6 years of silence into that small space. Elena looked up. The world seemed to stop. Marcus walked to the counter, rain still dripping from his clothes. "May I sit?" "It's a cafe, Mr. Whitmore," she replied, keeping her distance. Micah grinned up at him. "Are you here to have coffee?" "I am." Marcus tried to sound casual, but his eyes kept searching for Elena. When he mentioned that he'd learned she worked there, Elena cut in. "Since the day you left." The words fell between them like a door slowly closing. Marcus tried to speak, but nothing felt enough. She continued, her calm sharp as glass. "Silence is a choice too." As Micah finished his hot chocolate, the other 2 boys appeared, and Marcus lost his breath. 3 boys, the same brown curls. One of them with the exact same intense green eyes as his own. He stared, unable to hide it. "They're incredible," he said, voice tight. "They're all I have." Elena drew a trembling breath. "And that's enough." Marcus struggled for words. "You never told me about them. You never came back." The truth hit harder than any accusation. The boys ran to their mother, proudly showing a drawing. 3 kids and a man in the center. "It's the man who helped Micah," Caleb beamed. Marcus saw more truth in that drawing than in any family photo he had ever known. Before leaving, he whispered, "I'm not walking away this time." Eleanor looked aside. "Not now, Marcus. Today I just need to finish my shift." He walked out under a sky beginning to clear, the weight of everything he'd lost pushing down on him. In the car, he murmured, "They're mine." Through the window, Eleanor watched him go, her eyes full of every word she never said. "I waited for you," she whispered. But inside her, another promise grew stronger. "No one will take you from me, not even the past." The conference room at the Charleston Grand Hotel was far too cold when Marcus Whitmore walked in at 7:30 a.m. It felt as if the entire weight of the city rested on that glass table. Architects and investors waited, while the screen displayed images of the East District, old facades, stone sidewalks, and right in the middle, Harbor and Home. His heart tightened. "The plan is to demolish blocks 14 through 20, the architect explained. "The cafe is in 18. "Demolish? The structure is old. Rebuilding is cheaper," Victoria Lane added, with that smile that always hid poison. "We must think about the project, not sentimentality." The word hit Marcus directly. He straightened his tie and answered coolly, "Charleston survives on memory." "Memory doesn't pay bills," she countered. He said nothing more. But the silence was enough for Victoria to realize she was losing ground. Hours later, alone in the office, Marcus stared at the rain against the window. The open report seemed distant. What he actually saw was Elena pouring coffee and the triplets laughing. He sent a single email. Delay any decision on property 18. I want a new evaluation. Across the city, Eleanor worked under curious glances. Rumors drifted through tables and clinking cups. They say it's going to become a mall. She knows the billionaire. Eleanor forced a steady breath, pretending she didn't hear, but her stomach twisted. Nora, her friend, leaned in. You okay? Charleston loves making up stories, she replied, even as fear settled in her chest. Meanwhile, Victoria was moving her pieces on the board. Publish the article, she said on the phone, and include the photo of the cafe and the employee. Her smile sharpened. The silent war had begun. By late afternoon, Marcus returned to Harbor and home. The golden sun lit Elena as she wiped down tables. Hi, he said, standing at the door. She paused, surprised. Mr. Whitmore. Marcus, he corrected. He drew a breath. The cafe is part of a project I'm overseeing. Her eyebrows tightened. A project? Revitalizing the East District. Tension thickened the air. And what will happen to this place? I don't know yet. She crossed her arms. And if you decide to tear it down? He stepped closer. Maybe I'll have to decide with my heart. She let out a humorless laugh. Since when does a Whitmore use his heart in business? Since the day you came back into my life. She didn't have an answer. Didn't know whether to step back or believe him. That night, Marcus was interrupted by the sharp click of heels as Victoria entered. The article is out, she said, dropping a newspaper on his desk. When he read the headline, his blood went cold. Whitmore project could shut down historic cafe, employee involved. Elena's photo was there, exposed. What is this, Victoria? Communication strategy. This is an invasion. She stared him down. So she matters that much. His silence said everything. Back at Harbor and home, Elena found the newspaper folded beneath the door. When she read the headline, her body shook. No, she whispered, clutching the paper to her chest. First fate brought Marcus back. Now it seemed ready to take him away, along with everything she had left. Charleston held its breath, and the first battle between them had finally begun. Charleston woke up consumed by rumors. On every street corner, newspapers showed the same headline, Marcus Whitmore's and Elena Brooks. Her phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Did you see the paper? Is it true about the billionaire? When she opened the door, the folded newspaper was waiting for her. Her photo, her face, was printed on the front page. Whitmore project raises suspicions of conflict of interest. Eleanor felt the ground open beneath her feet. She had never been exposed like this. At the hotel, Marcus stared at the same headline with anger and guilt. His wrinkled suit betrayed a sleepless night. Victoria Lane entered holding a folder. The demolition schedule has been approved. He didn't respond. He simply lifted the crumpled newspaper. Who authorized the photo of Elena? Victoria hesitated for 1 second. Communications approved it. It's standard procedure. Marcus stepped closer, furious. You exposed a woman who has nothing to do with this. She has everything to do with it, Victoria exploded. Since she came back, you've stopped being rational. You're putting the company and me at risk. You? He repeated, stunned. Her voice faltered, but she tried to pull herself together. I just want what's best for us. There is no us, Victoria. His voice cut like ice. You crossed the line. Get out of my office. The door slammed shut, a fracture finally breaking. At Harbor and Home, the cafe was crowded, not with customers, but with spectators. Eleanor served with trembling hands, dodging unwanted flashes. A reporter pushed forward. Miss Brooks, did Mr. Whitmore offer protection in exchange for favors? Get out! So you confirm that you know him? I know him, but not the way you're implying. The camera clicked. The image would go viral within minutes. As she tried to lock the door, Marcus arrived. Elena, I swear I didn't know this would happen. She held back tears. Didn't know or didn't want to know. I would never allow this. But you did, she said, hurt. Now they think I sold this place. He tried to get closer, but she stepped back. This is my life, Marcus, not one of your spreadsheets. She went inside and shut the door. He remained outside, staring at her reflection in the glass, exactly as he had 6 years before. Determined, Marcus called legal. Who authorized that photo leak? It came directly from Ms. Lane's office. I want a public retraction and ban any mention of Elena Brooks's name. The next morning, the newspaper read, Whitmore Holdings denies personal involvement and issues apology. But the damage still burned like wildfire. Elena didn't go to work. Marcus drove to her house and sat outside, staring at the lit window. He heard children laughing and her voice singing a lullaby. For the first time, he understood. He wasn't just trying to save her. He was trying to save himself. Meanwhile, Victoria sent another email to the board. Marcus is emotionally compromised. I recommend reviewing his authority over the project. Without realizing it, she had just sealed the beginning of her own downfall. Charleston fell asleep to the sound of the ocean. Marcus stayed in his car, unable to knock. Inside the house, Elena hugged one of her sons and whispered, God, give me the strength to believe again. But her heart already knew the truth. No one fights this hard, unless the love is real. The sun had barely risen when Marcus Whitmore stepped into the temporary headquarters of Whitmore Holdings. The quiet hallway seemed to announce the gravity of what was about to unfold. Inside the conference room, directors, board members, and Victoria Lane were already waiting. The air was tense. He began the presentation with steady authority. The Charleston project continues, but with changes. Block 18, where Harbour and Home stands, will be preserved and restored. An investor protested. The cost of a conscience is always higher, Marcus cut in, and worth every cent. Silence. No one dared to challenge him. As the meeting ended, he said, Miss Lane, a word alone. The room emptied. The air shifted. Marcus pressed play on an audio recording, the voice of an employee confessing that Victoria ordered the article leak, with Eleanor's photo, claiming Marcus had approved it. When it ended, his voice was low. I authorized none of it, and you knew that. Victoria tried to defend herself, trembling. I did what I thought was best. You're throwing everything away because of that woman. You exposed an innocent person, he replied, and you did it out of jealousy. She stepped forward. Marcus, I just didn't want to lose you. You never had me, Victoria, and now you've lost my respect. He drew a controlled breath. You're fired. She left without a word. The door closed like a chapter ending. Hours later, newspapers announced, Whitmore Holdings revises project, restoration instead of demolition. Historic cafe to be preserved. Elena read the news behind the Harbour and Home counter. Her heart split between relief and fear. The bell above the door chimed. She looked up. It was him, no suit, no shields, just Marcus. I had to come, he said, removing his glasses, because I'm done letting fate decide for me. And what does that mean? Eleanor asked. He set an envelope on the counter. The purchase agreement for the cafe. Her eyes widened. You bought this place. To make sure no one can take it from you. He held up a key attached to a silver keychain. Harbour and Home is officially yours now. Her tears came before any words could. Marcus, just tell me you'll let me stay. Not as the owner, as someone who wants to rebuild what he broke. She lowered her gaze. Overwhelmed, unable to respond right away. Then the triplets burst in, laughing, holding up their drawings. Marcus knelt in front of them. I want to know you, really know you. Not as a visitor, but as someone who isn't going anywhere. Eleanor's voice shook as she nodded. Then, welcome, Marcus Whitmore. By sunset, they walked along the beach together. The wind played with the boy's hair, the ocean seemed to celebrate. Marcus took Elena's hand. Sometimes life gives us a second chance disguised as ruin. And what do we do with it? She asked. We rebuild, brick by brick, heart by heart. She smiled, a full, honest smile at last. He leaned his forehead to hers and whispered, Love doesn't return because it never left. It was just waiting for the right moment. And the kiss that followed wasn't a reunion. It was coming home. 6 months later, Charleston had come back to life, and along with it, the life of Marcus Whitmore. The old penthouse in Atlanta was empty. Now he lived in a simple house by the sea, where children's laughter mixed with the smell of fresh coffee. Whitmore Holdings kept a headquarters in the city, a decision Marcus explained in just a few words. Some business needs to stay close to what matters. Even the board hadn't seen that coming. Harbor and Home, fully restored, now carried a new sign. Property of Elena Brooks and Marcus Whitmore, Project Rebirth. On a Saturday morning, the triplets played near the window while Elena arranged flowers and Marcus reviewed reports at the counter. "Mum, is Mr. Marcus working here today?" Micah asked. Eleanor smiled. "Maybe." Asher and Caleb ran over, curious. "Why is he always here? And why does he make coffee just like you?" Marcus shut his laptop, knelt in front of them and said, "Can I tell you a secret?" 3 little heads nodded. "I love being here because you 3 are the most important people in my life." Micah blinked. "Like Mom." "And you 3? Marcus added. "Us? Why?" Caleb asked. He took a breath. "Because I'm your father." Silence turned into pure emotion. Caleb threw his arms around him. Asher smiled through a tremor and Micah whispered, "I knew it." Eleanor couldn't hold back her tears. Marcus hugged all 3, feeling 6 years of ache dissolve in seconds. "Forgive me for not being here before," he whispered. "But I promised I'm never going anywhere without you again." The boys squeezed him tighter, and the whole world seemed to fit inside that embrace. A few weeks later, at the grand opening of Project Rebirth, Marcus spoke to the press. "This project is about stories that deserve to continue. Mine restarted here." At sunset on the cafe's closed veranda, the triplets chased colorful kites. Eleanor rested her head on his shoulder. "I think this place was saved by love and investment." Marcus smiled. "You saved me, Eleanor." She laughed softly. "So the billionaire works for me now?" "I work for you, for them, and for destiny," he replied. "And honestly, it's the best deal I've ever made." The wind lifted her hair, the ocean hummed gently, and the boys' laughter filled the air. Marcus looked at that simple, perfect scene and knew without a doubt his search was over. Because sometimes life takes its time to bring together what belongs. But once it finally does, not time, not distance, not fate itself can tear it apart again. Charleston, the cafe, the sea, the children's laughter, everything seemed to say the same truth. When love is real, it always finds its way home. Now tell us in the comments, which moment in this story moved your heart the most? And if you believe that love always finds its way back, leave a like, subscribe to Hearts Rewritten, and share this story with someone who still believes in second chances.